Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, brought to you by BetDSI, and I'm your host, Mitchell Renz. Interact with me on Twitter and Instagram at MitchellRenz365. I have some breaking news that involves the Oakland Raiders and where they're going to be playing their home games in 2019. The Raiders are headed to San Francisco, and they're going to be playing at Oracle Park. And now this news isn't 100% official, but it's basically for Chucky heads, believe it, baby. The Raiders reached a deal with the Giants to use Oracle Park, formerly AT&T Park, and this news broke yesterday during an absolute snooze fest in the Super Bowl, which, I don't know if you know this, Patriots won 13-3. The announcement is expected sometime to be official this week. Here's what has to happen. The NFL would have to approve the deal, plus the 49ers would have to waive their territorial rights in San Francisco. Both of those things have not happened yet. Once the NFL approves the deal and the 49ers waive their territorial rights, then it will be final. In December, the Raiders withdrew from a tentative agreement to play one more season at the Oakland Coliseum before moving to Las Vegas in 2020. That's their 2020 vision. That decision came one day after the city of Oakland filed a federal lawsuit. Last week, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell finally had something good come out of his mouth when he told reporters in the ATL that he wants the Raiders to stay in Oakland and believes owner Mark Davis wants the same for his fans. But here's the thing. Goodell has also hinted that the decision would be coming soon, and I said literally yesterday on the Raiders Report that I was going to give this one to Chucky heads and the Raiders going to Oracle Park. The rumors have been swirling all offseason of where the heck they're going to play, and hopefully you watch the Raiders Report, and hopefully you subscribe, because guess what? We've been giving out odds on where the Raiders are going to play the entire offseason. We've been breaking them down. We've been having this. We've been doing that. And luckily, at BetDSI, we had odds on where the heck the Raiders were going to play, and hopefully you put money down that the Raiders were going to play in San Francisco, because if you did, you're going to end up making money. But here's the thing. You should be betting at BetDSI all offseason long. It's the internet's #1 sportsbook. You're going to go to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code LIVE120 for 120% deposit bonus. So if you put down $50, you get $60 for free. But wait, I got an even better offer for you. If you use Bitcoin, look at that, 150% deposit bonus. So if you put down $100, you're going to get $150 for free. Shout out to BetDSI for going up Chat Sports with the best promo code on the internet. If you're just joining us, the Raiders are going to be playing at Oracle Park, and if you don't know what's going on with Oracle Park, well, it's the home of the San Francisco Giants. Yes, the MLB. So maybe the Raiders are going to be the San Francisco football Raiders. No, nobody likes it. Oracle Park is going to sit between 38,000 and 40,000 fans for football. And the reason why I say that is because of this. The venue has hosted football games before. The XFL San Francisco Demons, maybe that's what the Raiders will change their name to, played there in 2001. Cal played its home games there in 2011. And the stadium hosted a college bowl game from 2002 to 2013. Now, the Raiders are going to play 7 games at Oracle Park in 2019, because one of those games will be played in London against the Bears, and I'm telling you right now, I would freaking love to go to that Bears-Raiders game in London. So maybe the Raiders' actual name is going to be the San Francisco-London Raiders, man. I have absolutely no idea, but it's exciting to know that we finally know where the Raiders are going to be playing their home games in 2019, because it's something that we've talked about. Now, 38,000 to 40,000 fans in a stadium, sure, it's not a lot, but from the picture, I know it's a little bit small down there. You can't see it. It's actually going to be a really nice ballpark for the Raiders, and hopefully it's going to be a nice home field for them as well. So with the Raiders moving to Oracle Park, what the heck is their name going to be? Because I don't really know. So I want you to choose the Raiders' name. Is it going to be the San Francisco Raiders or the Oakland Raiders? So if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on Facebook, I want you to comment below. Type SF for San Francisco or type O for Oakland. What do you want it to be? San Francisco Raiders? Oakland Raiders. If you want to know what I think it's going to be, hit me up on IG or Twitter at MitchellRenz365. Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, brought to you by BetDSI, and I'm your host, Mitchell Renz. Interact with me on Instagram and Twitter at MitchellRenz365. And make sure you guys subscribe below to the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube, youtube.com/Raiders Report. We were doing shows before Super Bowl Sunday. We're doing shows early Monday morning. I'm releasing a video every single day. #1 channel on YouTube for Raiders content, youtube.com/Raiders Report. If you want to get on the show, guess what? subscribe below. I got you. But now with the Raiders going to the Bay, there's going to be a little bit of a competition. Like, I'm just saying, we are going to have a battle in the Bay. Raiders versus 49ers, and it's kind of funny because the 49ers technically don't even play in San Francisco. They play in Santa Clara, and I think it's the whole thing with, like, the New York Jets, the New York Giants. Well, guess what? They play in New Jersey. But there's going to be talks because the Raiders and 49ers, they're going to be split in turf, and when you look at two historical franchises like both of these teams have, there's going to be a serious turf war, and I think it's exciting to see because I love rivalries in sports, man. Like, rivalries in sports are the best thing in sports. It sells. Red Sox, Yankees, sells. Duke, North Carolina, sells. I absolutely love it. When you look at the Raiders' career record, 466 wins, 423 losses, and 11 ties. Like, both of these sports franchises have been around for so long, and it's awesome to see that now they're going to be button heads in the same city, basically. The 49ers' career record, 570 wins. 570 is also the area code on my cell phone. Do you know where I'm at? Do you know where I'm from? Let's hear it. But they've had 486 losses, 16 ties, and Super Bowls. The Raiders have had 3. The 49ers have 5. So the Raiders have been to the Super Bowl 5 times. The 49ers have been to the Super Bowl 6 times. 3-2 for the Raiders, 5-1 for the 49ers. All I'm saying is, like, hey, man, I like that both of these teams are going to be super good, or have been really good, and I think is one of the interesting debates we're going to be talking about is the quarterback play, right? Because when you're looking at the quarterback play, that's where both of these teams, I kind of have certain question marks around both, right? Is Derek Carr the answer for the Raiders? That's still TBD. Is Jimmy Garoppolo everything that we think that he could be? TBD. But when you look at their career numbers up here on the board, who's the best quarterback in San Francisco? Is it Derek Carr? Is it Jimmy Garoppolo? I mean, Derek Carr, 62.8% completion percentage. Jimmy Garoppolo, 65.4% completion percentage. Now, the passing yards shows a big discrepancy just due to the amount of games. But still, Derek Carr, 18,000 to only Jimmy G's 2,968. Passing touchdowns. Obviously, Derek Carr has a lot more, and interceptions obviously has more. Now, the interception to touchdown ratio is actually very similar. But wins to losses, this is the one that really sticks out to me. Now, sure, I think wins and losses for a quarterback are a stat that I love, and yet they're a stat that I hate because it is such a team-driven sport. But 32-46 for Derek Carr, and you're going to look at Jimmy Garoppolo, who's sitting there at 8-2, right? People are starting to talk about what's going on with Carr, and if Jimmy Garoppolo is actually 8-2, kind of good. But we'll get back. We'll get away from the quarterbacks, and we'll just look at the overall team because this is a team sport. So when I'm looking at the offenses here, not either of these teams, I think, were all that great this past season. But again, I think the 49ers would be a lot different with Jimmy Garoppolo at the helm. He just ended the season on the IR with an ACL tear. And then the Raiders, well, they traded away a lot of their key pieces because they're focusing on that 2020 season. When you look at points per game, 49ers there at 21st, the Raiders at 28th. Yards, 16th for the 49ers, 23rd for the Raiders. Passing yards per game, 15th for the Niners, 18th for the Raiders. Rushing, 13th for the Niners, and I think it could have been a little bit better if Jerick McKinnon would have been able to stay healthy. Rushing for the Raiders at 25th, and then turnovers, though. Turnovers is where the Raiders have the edge, and I think when you look at what happened to the 49ers this year, they were tied for 30th with the most turnovers simply because, man, when you lose Jimmy Garoppolo, that hurts. But then also you're going to lose all your other quarterbacks. Man, they had to go with Nick Mullins. They had to go with C.J. Beathard. And luckily, they've had a few good bright spots, but the offenses were bad, and both teams were bad. But it wasn't just because of the offense. It's probably more to do with the defense. And both defenses for these teams were struggling. Like, points per game, 49ers gave up the 28th most. The Raiders gave up the most points per game on defense. Yards per game, right? Like, both teams, again, not all that great. Now, passing was a little bit better for the Niners, but the Raiders just got absolutely ripped apart on the ground, giving up 140 rushing yards per game. Not exactly what they were looking for, but then you're going to look at takeaways. Takeaways, the 49ers were ranked dead last with only 7th, and in the NFL, if you're not putting up all that amount of points and your defense is mediocre, well, you're probably not going to win many games, and that's why both of these teams really struggled, and they're 4-12. Now, when you look at the Raiders' last 5 seasons, not all that great, right? So they were 4-12 this past year, 6-10 in 2017, but a winning record in 2016 at 12-4, and I think they could have really, I think, challenged a lot of teams in the playoffs, but Derek Carr got hurt there. 2015, 2014, not so good. But at least they have at least one winning record compared to the 49ers, which I can't say over the last 5 years. 4-12 for them in 2018, 6-10, and then just absolute stink fest with 2-14, 5-11, and If you want to bid on both of these teams next season, there's one place to do it. That's at BetDSI. Go to chatsports.com/bet. And remember to use that promo code LIVE120 for 120% deposit bonus. Sign up and deposit using MasterCard or Bitcoin. And guess what? We're going to hook you up with a free NFL jersey. All you got to do is just DM us on Twitter at ChatSports. And you want a Jimmy G? I got you. You want a Derek Carr jersey? I got you. And plus, a little cherry on top. Boom. Bitcoin. Use it. 150% deposit bonus. You put down 100, we're going to hook you up with 150. So you tell me how many places are going to let you bet on NFL games, hook you up with free money, and a free jersey. I'll wait. BetDSI, shout out to them for hooking us up with the best promo code on the internet. So if you're going to bid on the 49ers and Raiders, who's going to have more wins in 2019? I want to hear from you. I want you to type N for Niners or type R for Raiders. If you want to know who I think is going to have more wins, hit me up on Instagram or Twitter at MitchellRenz365. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this. I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.